Welcome back out to Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley, Ohio. 2706 Boston Road. Ed Dick always says it borders 4 cities.
Sure does, Rob.
North Royalton,
Brunswick,
Strongsville,
and Hinckley.
Beautifully done. We haven't said it in a while.
I
So
love it.
There's a nice speedway going on in the North
I know,
Royalton corner of Bennett's Corners here.
Speedy Rewards. You can get a lot there.
That's to be clutch.
I have
are you
over.
a rewards member?
I do. I have over 24,000 points.
I think I'm around like 60.
Wow.
I have
I
zero
hoard
Speedway
points. Hoard points.
I have an abnormally large amount of national rental car points, to the point where they actually told me I have to start using my free days or I lose them. So
All these free plugs.
right, go with national if you're if you need a rental car, go national.
Well, we'll go right into Cavaliers basketball, which they're going to start
Momentarily.
Yeah.
soon here. Game 4 in
Game 4.
Cleveland starts at 8:30
Cavs up
tonight.
surprisingly 3-0. I don't think anybody had them winning.
Not after how that first series went.
No. And I think that proves that I think LeBron understands how to beat Toronto. I don't know.
I mean, if you think about Game 1, I mean, the Cavs were on the ropes. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought, they were struggling most of the game. They came back, and in the end, actually, Toronto around the basket had 3 chances to make pretty much a layup. I mean, point blank, and they couldn't get it done.
Toronto missed 14 of 16 shots in the fourth quarter. 15 of 16 in the fourth quarter. If they had made 1 or 2 of those shots, they win Game 1. I mean, it was that. I think it was that far gone for Toronto winning, but they just, for whatever reason, they could not find the bottom of the bucket, and that's how it works. And if you give LeBron James and his ability to win a game, and he did not have a good night, admittedly. So
I mean, he still had a triple-double.
yeah.
But
So we all would like that problem. I didn't have a good night, but I had another triple-double. Ho hum. But,
Yeah, no big deal.
Well, the Cavs, no one would have blamed them had they lost.
No.
Like, they wouldn't have gotten crushed for it at all. I mean, maybe LeBron may have caught a little bit of flack from the
Right.
national idiots who,
say he's leaving every 5 minutes.
Yeah, all that, just some sort of clickbait or hot takes or that's what radio is anymore. But, the Cavs are a bad matchup for the Raptors just as much as the Pacers were probably
Not a great matchup for the Cavs.
absolutely not. I mean, when the Cavs lost to the 76ers and with maybe 3 games left and Philly needed to win out, Cavs needed to win. If Philly won out, they would have been they're the number 3 seed,
Right.
which they are now. The possibility of playing Indiana came pretty real there. It's like, oh man, like oof.
Yeah.
I mean, given they did beat us 3 out of 4 times, all of which happened before the trade, but I mean, they know that they had it in their minds that they could beat us, and they damn near did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you look at Indiana, I mean, just some of the matchups. I mean, they did a great job on Kevin Love. I mean, you look at the statistics in the playoffs. I mean, LeBron James averaging 34.8 points a game. The next best points per game is Kevin Love at 13.9. And, I mean, he's been struggling.
And that's just in the Indiana series or in the playoffs
No,
as a
that's
whole?
just playoffs
Obviously,
as a
there's-
whole. But, in the Indiana series, he was, I mean, a lot of times to get to 12 points, I
Right.
mean, he really struggled. It wasn't a good matchup for him there. The last 2 games now he's played very well. Kyle Korver has stepped up very
Kyle
nicely.
Korver stepped up starting Game 7. I mean, with those clutch fourth quarter 3-pointers. He's been doing that, and I think we're seeing a Kyle Korver that's understanding how to play with LeBron more so than he did last year. And that's a pretty dangerous thing because now he knows and you see it. It's a very quick shot from Kyle Korver. So when it hits and when it is hitting, it's a deadly combination. So, you see a guy, I can only go to Game 3 because I watched a little bit of that against Toronto where, Kyle Lowry had a really good game, points-wise. He was hitting his 3-ball, but it's almost with Toronto, I think, defensively, you're like, okay, let's let Kyle Lowry go off if we hold DeMar DeRozan. If they're both playing well, they're very difficult to beat because then they have that third option with Valanciunas in the paint. But I think they made a concerted effort like, look, okay, let's let Kyle Lowry go off if we stop DeRozan, and they did. He didn't even play the fourth quarter. I mean, if he did, it was very minimal in the fourth quarter. And that's a perennial all-star. That's a guy that's been in the conversation for MVP talk. Not a loud conversation, obviously, but still in the conversation. Who's on the bench in the fourth quarter because he's not helping the team come back. But Kyle Lowry is, and you saw what happens. Now, I look for tonight in Game 4 to maybe see a little bit of that. Let Kyle Lowry lead and maybe see if the Cavs can adjust to that. I still think they pull it out tonight, but I don't know, man. LeBron James is playing at some sort of level I've never seen in my entire life watching NBA playoffs. This is, I think, better than Jordan right now.
Well,
wow.
If you want a true definition of how your mental state as an athlete can come into play, look at the combined mental state of the Toronto Raptors. I mean, this is really the third year that they've had to go through this, and by all means, the Raptors should at least be competitive with the Cavs in this series. But for whatever reason, whether it's LeBron or whether it's the Cavs or everything in total, there's something mental going on with the Raptors when it comes to playing the Cavs in the playoffs, and it just keeps getting thicker and thicker every time LeBron plays against them, especially after the Game 3 with that unbelievable runner.
Bank was open on Saturday, baby.
Off the glass for the game win, and you could just see the reaction from the Raptors on the bench. Like they were like, "What can we do?" So you'll know very quickly tonight, Game 4, on what their state is as a team, and I hope for the Cavs they really put it to bed right now. I mean, we were talking during the break, and you guys were mentioning that this team needs a break, especially LeBron, and hopefully they understand that, and hopefully they want that, and they come out and they play hard. They played like they did in Game 3 defensively, and I think this series will be over tonight, and that'll be good for them.
And it's not that the Raptors have not been competitive, because they most certainly have. I mean,
that's what's so deflating about it.
They like competitive being win a game.
Yeah,
is what Josh is talking about. I mean, the Raptors have given the Cavs all they can handle. Game 1, Game 3, Game 2. LeBron was just in another planet, and his teammates showed up.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of times this postseason what happens when more than one or two Cavs are clicking at the same time. That's the type of team that can, one, finish the sweep tonight against Toronto, and then take it into the conference finals, most likely against Boston, and probably be Boston too.
Yeah.
And then you throw LeBron in his 8th straight finals, 9th overall, and you see what happens. I mean, I think it's going to be a dogfight between Houston and Golden State. Hopefully they beat each other up for 7 games.
More interested to watch. I'm actually more interested to watch if that becomes the Western Conference Final. I'll be very interested to watch that entire series, because you just have so much talent in that conference right now. Not to say there's not talent in the Eastern Conference, because you're seeing right now with the Sixers, and I was mentioning you guys off air, the Sixers are really in their first dalliance into the playoffs right now. They're a young team getting playoff experience. Now they're seeing the difference between regular season basketball and playoff basketball. The level you have to take it to, the next level. And I hate saying that, because there's a certain sportscaster in Cleveland that just uses next level too much. But anyway, we're just going to, you have to take it to that. And you see what LeBron does. LeBron sometimes looks lethargic in the regular season, doesn't even want to be there. But as soon as it's playoffs, and as soon as you got a 7-game series, he just knows how to win those series. He knows how to give his best effort. And if he gets just a little bit of help from the rest of his supporting cast, and I think Kevin Love has been the big issue right now, because we don't have Kyrie Irving scoring anymore. George Hill's a nice point guard. He knows how to, he knows how to take advantage when it's there. But he's not. I don't think he's a natural scorer like Kyrie was. But we need guys like Kevin Love to be consistent. We definitely need J.R. Smith's outside shot to hit more than it misses, than it has been. I also we were talking about what the next series could hold. You got to see the young guys, Nance Jr., Clarkson, Rodney Hood.
I think what you're seeing here is, when you look at the minutes played, I think Ty Lue right now is comfortable with guys that he trusts.
Yeah.
And it's mostly the veterans. Clarkson, Hood, and Nance are at the bottom, averaging about 16 minutes a game. Tristan right there at 16.
Right, but
and
Tristan,
then Jeff Green and up are about 22 minutes and above.
But Tristan's really only come on
recently.
Yeah, in the last
So-
4 games.
So I mean, I think the Clarkson and those guys are definitely going to have a chance to play, but I think it's going to be kind of limited until Ty Lue gets that comfort zone with them. And I mean, you got to let them play and experience it. But right now, the other guys are starting to play at a pretty high level and getting comfortable with
I
each
also
other.
think that Ty Lue's been through the ropes as a head coach through the playoffs, through the rigors, and I think we make kind of a big deal about who's playing and who's not, but I think when it comes to Ty Lue, I think it's all about in this individual series what matchups work best. And he's found out that Tristan Thompson playing more works best. Larry Nance Jr. not so much, not fitting the rotation. Now, maybe in the next series, Boston's a younger team, a little more physical. And when it comes to that youth, that's where those guys like Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr. may come into play to match up with those younger Celtics, possibly Philadelphia 76ers squad.
And believe it or not, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I think Kendrick Perkins played a very vital role in this entire series because the Cavs went into that halftime in Game 1. They were down, maybe feeling a little tired, and all of a sudden, little Mr. God's Plan, Mr. Drake, decided to get up and start basically barking at what is a mountain of a man in Kendrick Perkins. Got nothing to lose. He's on a veteran minimum contract. He starts barking. And what happens? All of a sudden, we win Game 1. And then the next day, God's Plan doesn't say much. Why? Because LeBron makes him eat it at the Air Canada Center. Oh, Canada, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Sorry, Drake. Sorry. You ain't up there no more.
Yeah, he's been a little bit quieter.
He's been awfully quiet and not bouncing his towel around.
I think he got sat down by the league too, to a certain extent. But I would say
he got sat down by Kendrick Perkins is what happened.
Oh,
the league did
tell
was afraid that was going to happen more.
The league did tell him that
the
he
league
had
stepped
to
in and was like, "Hey, buddy,
stop swearing.
I can't control this guy.
Yeah,
we've tried. He'll hit you. Not that he would. Kendrick Perkins, very nice guy."
We're seeing the Cavs and the Raptors enter the floor at the Q right now, getting ready for Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The number 1 seeded Toronto Raptors currently shut out of the series to the number 4 seed, the 3-time defending Eastern Conference champion Cleveland Cavaliers, looking to be the first team to punch their ticket to their respective conference finals.
Now, let me pose a question to the table. Does Boston, assuming Boston gets through and we play them, do they pose a bigger threat than, say, a Sixers team would? In the sense that they have a very good mix of veteran players, whereas I think the Sixers are a young team where they just don't know any better. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, which would be the better matchup?
Which is a scarier matchup, I guess, is let's say this was actually a tied series and it was even.
They're both scary in their own right because you got the 76ers who have the youth and really good players. You don't know how they may react. They may just go into it and say, let's do it. And,
right.
And we saw during the regular season that proposed some matchup problems for the Cavs. Whereas the Celtics coming in, they do have some veteran players. They have some great young players as well. But that's the Eastern Conference Finals. That's where it comes down to coaching. And I think we can all agree that maybe Brad Stevens is somewhat, when it comes to coaching, slightly better than Ty Lue. So me personally, I think the better matchup of what I would like to see, would it be better for the Cavs in terms of making it back to the finals, would be the 76ers. But as of right now, it looks like it's going to be Boston.
Well, and Boston did lose tonight, so it will go
still up 3-1 in the series.
Back to Boston, but they're still up 3-1, and no team, I believe, has come back from 3-0. So we'll see what happens.
That's correct. Not in basketball. That is unblemished, much like the 16 seeds before this past year in the NCAA tournament.
Shout out Baltimore, man!
I think. I was listening to the radio a little bit today, and they were saying how good of a coach Brad Stevens is.
Mm-hmm.
And the dissenting opinion was, well, how good is he? He has not won anything yet. And I can't disagree with that. Now, has he had the horses that some of the other coaches have? I'd say no to that. He's taken a team this year that doesn't have two of their best players. They're too big. The guy they traded for, the big free agent signing, both hurt, not in the playoffs, and he's going to end up taking them most likely to the conference finals.
Right.
But at what point is that enough, though? Like, you can't consider, like Dwayne Casey, for example. He's been coaching the Raptors for 7 years. If he can't get past the Cavs this year, the third year in a row,
gone.
He might be gone. Who's to say if the Cavs get back to the same spot next year? The Celtics have Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward back, and they still lose to the Cavs.
I mean, if they
with as great of a coach as
Brad
Stevens
is,
then you'd be asking the same exact questions as people are asking about Dwayne Casey right now.
I think the fact that, I mean, it speaks to a level of, would the Cavs be where they are currently without LeBron? You take LeBron James out of the conversation. Let's pretend he got injured out for the year like Gordon Hayward. Do you think Ty Lue is the coach that can? We may not know this until it actually happens, but right now, as of today, do you feel Ty Lue is the coach, has the coaching credibility and the coaching je ne sais quoi, so to speak?
Oh, bilingual.
Right, to coach that team to where they are. Because Brad Stevens essentially took, okay, I'm going to bet my horses on Al Horford. I'm going to make sure he becomes the guy.
God, I hate him. He's such a tool.
I know.
Straight freaking tool.
But I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I think the conversation there is, he hasn't won anything, but it's that word after yet. You give him the horses and the ability and a LeBron-free Eastern Conference, because again, I think LeBron James is legitimately a cheat code. I mean, it's almost like the Golden State Warriors. Like, it's tough to beat essentially the Western Conference All-Star team, which is the Golden State Warriors. Most on any given night. You know what I mean? Like, if you stop Curry, you have to deal with Durant. If you stop Durant and Curry, then Klay Thompson kills you and Draymond Green kills you. Like, it's not necessarily.
I'd let Draymond Green shoot it.
Again, that's
guys,
what I'm saying. But here's the thing: if you do all that correctly, there's still another option.
Oh yeah, they have all kinds of options.
Whereas Brad Stevens may just be saying, "Look, here's what I have. Can I coach them? And can they follow my coaching and do well?" And that's what they're doing.
Here's the thing. To me, what he's doing now is no different than what we did at Butler. He's got a bunch of young dudes.
Yep.
He knows how to coach young dudes.
Yep.
And Al Horford.
But he's. But
who's a tool.
But real quickly,
let's hear that, Al Horford.
Let's compare and contrast, though. I mean, when we're a little more closer to home, obviously, to the Cavs, so we're seeing them day in and day out. But when you're looking at the Cavs and offensively, there's really, let's be honest, there's not much there.
Nope.
There's not a lot. And even on the defensive end, there's not a lot there either. When you look at Boston, the Celtics have a system, and you can see they run an offense. They're there playing a defense, and Brad Stevens sets that example. Now, is that?
I agree. I'll give you that.
Is that because they don't have the horses?
Yes.
Like a LeBron James to take over.
You tell me if Brad Stevens coached LeBron James that he would get LeBron James to go into that system? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know though.
That's what I'm saying.
You look at it. You look at a guy like, say, Phil Jackson, one of the greatest all-time coaches, ran the same offense, but he had the perfect guys for it. He had a Scotty and a Michael. He had a Shaq and a Kobe.
And I guess and
it's the same. But then you move it to New York, and it's a completely different. But he's not coaching, obviously. But it's the same. It's his blueprints. But I'm saying, like, that's the measure of a true coach. You could sit there and say that the triangle offense was one of the great plays, one of the great offenses, and what made it so great was that you had great players running it who understood how to run it, and they were successful in it. Now, Kobe didn't like playing it, but he won championships with it. Michael Jordan loved playing it because it focused on him, and Scottie Pippen was a good running mate. You could mix and match, Rodman. You could mix and match Cartwright or whoever else you wanted to put in that offense, but it still worked. I think that's what speaks more to Brad Stevens, where if he can get the guys he needs to run that particular offense, I think he could be one of the great coaches.
We'll see next year when he's got everyone
right,
healthy.
That's my point, is that maybe this offense that they're running can be even better with Kyrie and Gordon Hayward running, you know what I'm saying, running in tandem together. It was designed that way. Now he's having to mix and match with lesser parts, and he's still achieving some modicum of success, but maybe not what it could be given all things being equal and everybody being healthy.
Yeah, I mean, any way you look at it, I will give credit to Ty Lue, though, the way he's coached in this series. I mean, sticking with Jeff Green, who struggled pretty good in the first series. He's played very well in this series. George Hill right now is on a roll.
He's got 6 points right now.
Yeah.
2 of them were wide open ducks straight to the lane.
LeBron has 0 points, and the Cavs have scored 10.
Well, look at that.
Yeah. And I think we've had where, the Cavs, they've had other players step up recently, the veterans, and some of the younger guys are – I mean, if you put it all together and some of these young guys really get it in one of these series, I mean, this team could be dangerous. I know a lot of the national media is saying the Cavaliers are junk and all that, and this is the least amount of talent they've had, which I completely disagree with.
Well, I agree with. I mean,
you think this is the least amount of talent?
I think this team would destroy the 200007 team.
Yeah.
I think so,
no,
too.
I'm saying,
Absolutely destroy them.
I know,
agree with
that's
you
what
on
I
that.
think.
I'm saying you're sitting here telling me that 2016 team that won the championship was more talented, or you're saying this team was as talented as 2016?
I'm not gonna say they're as
I didn't
talented.
say that,
No,
but they're
we're
not the
saying
least.
that.
Well, I mean,
Anthony Parker.
Okay.
Who else? Like Wally Zerbiak.
Whoa! Don't you talk
I
badly
like
about
Wally's
Wally.
world. But I mean,
Wally
when you
was
look
a
at
great
the talent,
player. No, I agree with you, but I'm saying it's not the worst. It's probably not the worst, but it's nowhere near what he's been playing with the last couple years. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
no, I agree with that.
If you're comparing this to 2007, well, yes, this is not that. But that team in 2007 went to the finals. This team hasn't gone to the finals yet, so we don't know. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's not necessarily less talented. I think it's less known talent. We don't know how good this team could be because they just got together less than 3 months ago. So they're still figuring it out.
I would agree with that.
We'll see. We'll see.
Guys, any last thoughts on the Cavs? The Cavs are right now in the first quarter. Still plenty of time left, but any thoughts on the playoffs? And what do you think the Cavs are going to do the rest of the way?
I think the Cavs are going to clinch tonight, and I think they will beat Boston in a very tightly contested series. Probably games. I would say 6 games. They can clinch for the first time. They clinch all 3 Eastern Conference wins at their home building, which I don't think they've done in quite some time. And I can't even pick a winner of Houston and Golden State. That's going
to be a fun one to watch.
I just want them to beat the crap out of each other and let them go.
Look at the ball rotation. Splash!
Does anyone think whenever Kyle Korver shoots a 3, it's like a layup?
I know. It's just ridiculous.
He shoots it like it's that much. It's that comfort level.
I will say this: the Cavs ball movement without Kyrie Irving here has kind of moved quite well
unless
in the playoffs.
Unless it's an obvious isolation situation for LeBron.
But I mean, there's been less of the ISO with Kyrie.
Right.
LeBron,
But I'm saying even LeBron's ISO is more of a dish. But
that's right.
I will say this: Cavs win tonight for sure. They take Boston in 5 games.
Wow.
And I'm willing to pick they play Houston in the finals.
Whoa.
I think Golden State.
Excuse me, that would be a nice change of pace.
That would be a nice change. If
kidding.
it's Golden State, Cleveland again, I'm pretty sure outside of the highest ratings that ABC will have for a summer series, I will be more nervous than ever. I love a Houston matchup. Please.
We'll wait and see. Josh, any last thoughts from you?
Go Cavs.
Oh, and we're
That's
running.
right.
Look for us at the Cleveland Rite Aid Marathon. This
We might be laying on the ground, but we're going to be there.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now, you're going to see probably the worst running specimens you've ever seen in your life. I'm only running a 10K, and
That's all right, Sean.
I'm going to walk
Listen,
probably most of it.
We're going to finish. That's all that
I
matters.
don't know.
Right.
I really don't know. For the first
Good luck,
time in
guys.
years, Ed's going to be passed out
Well, hey, if you want to see Ed, he's playing softball 7 days a
7
week.
nights a week, twice on Sunday.
He's
Literally
playing
twice on Sunday.
He'll be in
Not even a
He'll
joke.
be in Rittman on, I believe, Sunday, and he'll be at Nura Park in Brunswick.
Come out and watch him do his early
tell you what.
game calisthenics. They are fantastic. Some jumping jacks.
It's impressive to watch.
I literally have a rubber band I use, so I can't.
Attaboy.
That's fine.
I thought you'd seen that. And
No.
you're like, he's making a joke, but it
No.
is a
I
spectacle.
was
for
making
beer
a
league
joke,
softball.
but that's a great pull on my end.
All right, for Josh, Jeffy, Ed, Dick, Sean Duffy, I'm Rob Traubman saying so long for Sports on Tap. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you soon.